Hello, and welcome back. This video is about creating passive or web tree style functionality in Unreal 5.4 blueprints. And a special thanks to all my supporters. Thank you for helping me help others. And to start, we'll update our Web Tree button. And here we have our increased level. That does not change. We're going to add a function called IsMaxLevel. This will simply return a bool value. Based on whether our level is equal to our max level. In the Web Tree line, we want to create a function called highlight. What this is going to do is take our image. We're going to be calling set tint, brush tint. And for tint color, we can just drag it out. There's a make slate color here. We just want to choose white. In our web tree, we have our event construct. As before, we'll grab our canvas panel, call get all children, so that we can iterate through it. Just run a sequence here to make it look a little nicer. If this is a WBP Web Tree button, we're going to add it to our buttons variable. This again will be a map. I'm just going to create the new one here. There will be a lines variable as well. Lines will be an array. Buttons will be a map. Oops. Clicked on the wrong section. And it's mapping to the WBP Web Tree button. The lines will be oh, I had that wrong. The lines will actually be Web Tree lines. We'll drag out our buttons, call add. We'll get to our button ID from here. And in the case of the button, we need to set its WBP Web Tree to self. Also, when the child is a line, we can then add it to our lines array. And when that's done, we'll call update tree and In this case, though, update tree is only taking the points text, setting text based on the points variable, which I didn't create yet. It's a singular type, and of course it's an int. We'll compile so we can set the initial value. We'll mix things up and make it 50 this time. And of course, drag that in here then. We have our button clicked, which takes in a button. This will be of type WBP, Web Tree Button. With that set up, we can go back into our Web Tree Button. Find the increase level, nope, event graph, and do that here. Sending along this button. Our button clicked will be very similar to the other tree. So I'll go in here, go to button clicked, and drag in all of that, copy paste. It doesn't associate the variable correctly. Oh, right, because we're using a different one. Call increase level on this version. Make sure we hook up that success check. And then what we're adding here is we'll get the button again. We call IsMaxLevel. In the case where we purchase a point or a level on a button, as long as it's a max level, we will then call highlight lines, which will take a button ID. It's just an int. The button ID will just be this button's ID, much to everyone's surprise. So in highlight lines, we're going to take our lines array. We're going to do a for each on that. We're going to get our button IDs. And for sanity's sake, and because double checking is always good, we're just going to ensure that is equal to 2, because we will be accessing the indexes or indices directly. Let's call a sequence. In the first sequence, we're going to take our button IDs. We're going to get the first entry. If our button ID we're sending in is equal to the first entry in this line, grab this, put it over here. So if our first entry is the button ID we sent in, we're going to use our buttons map to find the ID of the second entry, assuming that is valid, which it should always be unless your design is wrong somehow. Oops. We'll then take that button and set is enabled to true. They're initially disabled so that you can't click them before you're able to. This is effectively the check that works for that logic. And then lastly, in that scenario, we also call highlight on the line itself. Then we could take all of this logic here and duplicate that down here. I grabbed too much, I don't need these. And then if it's checking the second entry, get to the button from the first entry and the same logic. All right, let's make sure there's no bugs. So we initially start where every button except the center is disabled. We put a point in the first one. It will go through all of the lines and make sure that any line that has one of the two IDs as 0, which is this, it will then highlight it and enable the buttons, these 3 buttons that are connected to. Click the one down here, similarly, this one turns on. This line, if you remember, had our IDs reversed, so that logic is working. And then up here, we click that. That does not highlight this one because this is the one that had a max level of 2. There we go. Similarly, we can follow the line over here. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video and would like to see more, you know what to do. And if you would like to support this channel, watch these videos 2 weeks early, or just want to download the project files, you can do so through my Patreon linked below.